Hey, this is Baba Martian here doing a review of the Arkham Origins 3-pack containing the Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner and Lady Shiva figure. First of all, a big thank you to Ankush Chug for shelling this out so early. I mean, being in India, it's really hard to grab hold of these things. There have been a lot of questions regarding the release date, and DC Collectibles seems to have preponed the release date. Taking a quick look at the package. It's basically a standard window box from DC Collectibles. You got the Batman Arkham Origins logo at the top. You got Arkham Origins Batman on the two sides. Nothing much special going on at the top or the bottom. And you have all the other figures in the Arkham Origins line at the back, and it's been sculpted by Jonathan Matthews and Phil Ramirez. Now it comes inside with a lenticular backdrop of Gotham City, something like this. But I took that out, yeah, because I put it on my shelf. And anyways, I got this box set a couple of days back. I'm still super stoked while doing this review. I actually measured the height of these figures using a measuring tape, and the Electrocutioner stands at 7 inches tall exactly. The Harleen Quinzel stands at 6.5 inches tall, and the Lady Shiva, she stands at slightly less than 6.5 inches tall because she is slightly shorter than Harleen Quinzel. Now taking a look at the Harleen Quinzel figure, she comes with a writing board accessory, which is pretty cool. Sculpt is pretty simple and realistic. Feel like doing this, but you can't do that. Now the thing about the writing board is that it fits, it's supposed to fit on her right hand. Yeah, like that. But you can also make her hold the board on her left hand by actually supporting it against her body. And her right hand seems like, you know, they could have added a pen accessory, but I'm just being too nitpicky. Now the thing about this writing board is that she holds it slightly better in her right hand, but basically the board does not fit too well in either hand. I'm taking a good look at her sculpt. Yeah, if I can show you the face sculpt on this figure, it's not 100% game accurate, 99.1%. But it's a beautiful face nonetheless. I love the way her eyes came out, yeah, and the spectacles are non-removable. They are sculpted on the side of her face, and the glasses are transparent. We've got some nice detailing going on. If you can see, the pens are also sculpted, and her lab coat is made of a pliable plastic right up to the waist, and above the waist the lab coat, the edges of the lab coat are made of a pliable plastic, and the rest of the lab coat is sculpted onto the shirt underneath, so you can't take the coat off. The skirt is also made of a pliable plastic and got some nice sculpting on the heels and no peg holes at the bottom, so but she can stand pretty well, so it's not much of a problem. Getting into her paint application, her hair is nice yellow. You got some nice red on the shirt and nice black on her skirt with, you know, it's got a glossy feel to it, and got some nice jet black belt with the golden buckle, gives it a Harley Quinn kind of appearance. And you have grayish black leggings, which are probably a mixture of her skin color with the black, so it gives it a kind of translucent feel. Pretty cool. Getting into her articulation, her head is on a standard ball joint, so you can do the 360, can move down about that much, move up about that much, can tilt from side to side, and her shoulders are on a standard ball joints, can move outward about that much, can do the 360, and she's got a swivel at the biceps, but very loose, especially on the right side. If you can see that, that's like Marvel Select quality loose. And she got a single hinge at the elbows, which bend it slightly less than 90 degrees. She's got a swivel at the wrist, no waist articulation, no diaphragm joint, but strangely she does have some hip articulation, although it's very limited because of this skirt. You know, she moves forward about that much, backward about that much, doesn't do the splits. Actually, she does have an upper thigh swivel. You can see under her skirt, yeah, it's been very well camouflaged. And she got a single hinge at the knees, bent about that much, no other articulation, which is not bad because that would just take the beauty out of it, would make the legs look ugly, but I love her legs, they're beautiful, and she stands very well on her own. Now taking a look at the Lady Shiva figure, she comes with a katana sword which can be unsheathed, which is pretty cool. I'm going to show you the sword first, putting her back on the stand so she can make for good display. Looking at her scabbard, which is basically black in color with a matte finish. Got these two red ridges over here. And taking the sword out, you can see the silver blade, you can see the golden hilt, and it's got a black handle with all these red dots painted. Pretty cool. One thing I like about my sword is that it's pretty straight. I mean, I have a problem with some of these delicate accessories. They tend to get bent while coming out of the package. But mine was pretty cool, it was pretty neat. Taking a good look at the sculpt on this figure, I think it's pretty badass. I mean, it's so accurate. A good look at the face, if you can appreciate that. Wow. I mean, the face, I think, is come out more beautiful looking than the game version. You can appreciate her hair, you know, all these finer details, nice sculpting going on. I mean, she's got that Asian look to her face, although it's not too Asian, so that's what I like. Now, doing a quick 360 on the figure, so you'll be able to appreciate all the finer details. She's got this overcoat and all these toggle buttons on her waistcoat. Everything's sculpted, pretty neat. Doing a quick 360, so you can see the toggle button on her overcoat as well, and nice rack there, you know. Okay, that was pretty creepy. We've got some nice detailing sculpted on her trousers, some nice detail going on in her boots, also in her gloves, if you can see that. And got two peg holes at the bottom. Now, a thing I'd like to mention is that this overcoat is basically sculpted right onto the waistcoat, so this thing is not made of a pliable material. She has a long sash, which is basically made of a pliable plastic, so you can do this.
Sandra Wilson, nice sash.
Okay, now getting into the paint details of the Lady Shiva figure, moving this shitty head aside for the time being. Okay, her jacket is basically made of the same jet black as her hair, and also the same jet black on her boots, and the same jet black on this segment of the gloves on her hand. Okay, and this extension of the gloves on her forehand, and her trousers are of a lighter shade of black. So that's pretty much all there is to it. And you've got this nice red detailing going on in her trousers with some gray outlines, some nice red on the sash, some nice paint app on the waistcoat, and you've got these golden toggle buttons. Pretty cool. Now, taking a look at her articulation, her head is in a standard ball joint, can do the 360, can move down about that much, can move up about that much, can move from side to side about that much. Her shoulders are on standard ball joints, can move outward about that much, can do the 360. She's got a bicep swivel, which is very much needed on this figure, and she's got a single hinge at the elbows, which bends it slightly less than 90 degrees. Yeah. And she's got a glove cut or a glove swivel, but no wrist articulation, which is a bit of a bummer because the way this left hand is sculpted, you would wish they would have given one, because she could have got her into that, you know, bring it on kind of pose, but can't do that. No diaphragm joint, no waist articulation. Her legs move forward pretty limited and move pretty far backward. Now she, if you can see carefully over here, she's got a beautiful crotch bit with all this crease. If you can appreciate that. Yeah, that's sexy. But it's kind of a bane to her posability because, you know, the forward movement, yeah, the leg kind of gets stuck over here, so you can't move her far forward. And she doesn't do the splits, no upper thigh swivel, single joint at the knees, which bend about that much, and a swivel at the boots, and no ankle articulation. Overall, I think the Shiva, well, her articulation is a bit of a letdown, especially the lower torso articulation. I was expecting much. I mean, I believe these martial arts figures should have some more posability, should have had the splits, should have definitely had an upper thigh swivel. Oh man, I mean, I had more expectations from this figure, but one thing, you know, the fact that this leg can move so far back kind of compensates for the lack of articulation, because you can get her into pretty cool poses, and she stands pretty well on her own. Okay, so finally coming to the Electrocutioner action figure. It comes with a pair of removable shock gloves, which are open-fisted, and he himself comes with a pair of closed-fisted shock gloves. Now, a lot of people had questions to whether these can be fit on the Arkham Origins Batman figure. No, you cannot do that. Now, taking a good look into the sculpt of these shock gauntlets. You've got this silver knuckle pad and some nice detail into the wiring, and I can show you these gauntlets. Pretty cool. You've got this copper wire kind of appearance going on. Pretty neat. I'm putting these aside, putting the Collectible Batman aside, and taking a look into the Electrocutioner sculpt. Damn, that's pretty neat. Doing a quick 360 so you can appreciate all the finer details on this figure. Man, that's pretty badass. Now, taking a good look into his face sculpt. I think he's got a beautiful face with all these electric burns, some singeing in the hair. You can see the face with the flesh, coming out. Wow. And you can see the creases in his jacket, and you can see some creases, like, come on, let me fix that. Yeah, you can see some creases in his jacket and some nice creases on his pants. Gives it a kind of leathery feel to it. And you have all these wires sculpted on his body armor and the circuitry, and some wires at the back as well. Everything's sculpted, pretty neat. And you have these straps on his boots and 2 wires on his arms which are open-ended, which kind of makes sense because you can pop these hands off and pop this shock gauntlet right back in. Come on, man. Yeah, pretty tight. Now, he's got 2 peg holes at the bottom. Taking a look into the paint application, I think the paint came out pretty neat. His jacket, his pants, and his body armor are black with a matte finish, and he's got some silver dry brushing on the upper part of his armor, and the knee pads gives it a kind of rusty appearance. And these wires over here, and the wires which are sculpted at the back, have some black dry wash, which gives it a old and faded look to it. And if you can appreciate very closely, yeah, you'll be able to see some copper paint at the end of these wires. Gives it a naked wire kind of appearance. Similar thing going on with the shock gauntlet, so that's pretty dope. The level of details is just mind-blowing. Going to the articulation, his head is on a standard ball joint, can do the 360, can move down about that much. I mean, you can move down about that much, you can move up about that much. It's very minimal because of this collar, and can tilt from side to side. His shoulders are on ball joints, so you can move outward about that much. You can do the 360. Oh yeah! And doesn't have a bicep swivel. It's got a single hinge at the elbows, which bend at less than 90 degrees. Swivel at the wrist. No swivel at the gauntlet. Sorry. No wrist articulation. He doesn't have any diaphragm joint, or he does have a waist swivel. His legs move forward about that much, move backward about that much. He doesn't do the splits, no upper thigh swivel. Has got double jointed knees which bend about that much. And you can appreciate these double joints from the back of the figure, because let me tell you, when you see from the front of the figure, the upper knee joint is very stiff and minimal movement on the left side, almost zero movement on the right side. I kind of see why, because this wire is sculpted right on the knee pad, so it kind of restricts the movement. And it's got a boot cut or a boot swivel, but no other articulation, which doesn't bum me out because overall he's got very limited articulation. But I wasn't looking for too much of lower torso articulation for the Electrocutioner figure as much as I was looking for the upper torso articulation. So what they could have done extra, I think, is they should have, they could have definitely included the bicep swivel, and could have done something better or something more with the elbows. Could have given him double jointed elbows if that's asking for too much. Could have given him a swivel at the elbows, so it could have got these 2 fists together. Could have done a Rikishi kind of a pose with the closed fist, but I can't do that, so that's my only complaint. But it doesn't take away anything from this figure, because the level of detailing and the sculpt on the paint app is just so much accurate, and there's so much going on in this figure. It's just mind-blowing. And he's also a very stable figure, you can now, doing a quick size comparison, I don't have too many figures, but here they are next to the Arkham Asylum Batman. And here they are next to the Arkham City Catwoman. And here they are next to Greg Capullo Batman. Now standing side by side with the DC Comics Supervillains New 52 Joker. And finally, here they are standing next to the New 52 Martian Manhunter. Now about these three figures, I think that they're absolutely badass. I mean, yeah, they do have a limited posability, but doesn't take away anything from them. And if you haven't got them, do grab hold of them right now. For the first time, DC Collectibles is giving us three different figures and three well-known characters. I cannot pinpoint a weak link in this three pack, which is the best thing about it. So, I mean, I would highly recommend this box set to you if you're a DC Comics fan, and if you're a Batman fan, you should definitely grab hold of this, even if you haven't played the game. So, if you've liked my video, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. So, see you guys later. Skadoosh.